My name is Decho, and I've been very fortunate to have worked on this camp staff for about 27 years, on and off. Presently I'm the aquatics director here, but I've been the camp director and program director and waterfront instructor for many, many years. Edmund D. Strang Scout Reservation is going to celebrate its 50th anniversary in the year 2011. And a long time ago, a gentleman by the name of Ed Strang and another gentleman, volunteer scouter by the name of Oscar Johnson, decided in the 1950s that little old Housatonic Council should have its own Boy Scout camp. And against much opposition on the part of many of the executive board members of the council and the council executive himself, they decided to take it upon themselves to search the state of Connecticut for suitable property to open up a Boy Scout camp for the boys of the lower Naugatuck Valley. Took about 5 years, but in 1961, Oscar Johnson and Ed Strang located this place and purchased the property, and the slow process of developing it into a Boy Scout camp began. The camp itself, when I was a kid here, I started coming here in 1964, was nothing what it is now. The camp has grown considerably, and it's a great place for kids to spend the summer. The camp is named after Ed Strang. They changed it. They dedicated the camp to Ed in 1990. Its original name was Housatonic Scout Reservation, but the board in 1990 decided to dedicate the camp to Ed because of his years and years and years in the Boy Scout organization. Ed was born coincidentally in 1910, which is the year scouting came to the United States, and served in scouting as a volunteer his entire life until he died in 1995. From my own perspective, growing up as a kid, I was never a Cub Scout, but my Uncle Lou, who's now deceased, and an Eagle Scout from my troop, Troop 3 Derby, I always grew up listening to my Uncle Lou talk about Ed Strang. And I always envisioned Ed Strang as this like 6'6", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Nordic type, Viking figure, because according to my Uncle Lou, Ed could do no wrong, and he was the greatest thing that ever walked the earth. When I was about 12 years old, I was invited to a Boy Scout patrol meeting, and not knowing it was a Boy Scout meeting, and a good friend of mine who I work with at Shelton High School, Gary Scarpa, invited me to come to the troop meeting. And when I asked him what troop we were joining, he told me it was Troop 3 Derby. So when I got home, I was all excited. I called my Uncle Lou, and I said, "Unc," I said, "I'm going to join Troop 3, and I'm going to finally meet Ed Strang." Well, my dad drove me to the meeting the next night, and I walked into the Second Congregational Church in Derby, and standing in front of me, I'm looking around. There were about 100 kids in the troop at that time, and I'm looking around, and I was just amazed at how many kids were there, and how many I knew, actually, and never knew they were in Scouts. And all of a sudden, I got tapped on the shoulder, and I turned around, and there standing in front of me was this short, fat, pudgy, balding guy with a pencil-thin mustache and a balding head. And he said, "Hi, I'm Ed Strang." And my image of Ed Strang went right out the window. But he certainly wasn't a Viking, but in every way, he was a great guy.